What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new, my name is Addy, and today we have a really special episode planned. So if you guys have seen any of my previous videos on this channel, you probably know that I like to obsess over service delivery quite a bit, especially because nowadays in this agency space, it seems like most people are focused more on client acquisition and collecting more cash, and they kind of skip over the service delivery side of things, actually creating a good product, a good service, and providing value in general. So for me, I've always been the other way around where I like to focus more on service delivery, making sure I'm confident in what I'm selling and selling something that maybe I would buy myself if somebody offered it to me. So over the past few months, I've been trying to figure out what I could implement to give me that edge and make sure I stand out compared to my competitors. And I don't just look like one of those basic Facebook lead gen agencies. So I've been dabbling with a few different ideas. And one of the things that I've noticed is lead communication is one of those big problems with local businesses. They're already so busy with the work that they have and dealing with their clientele. They have a hard time getting to the phone and actually having a low speed to lead and giving all the information that a potential lead wants and booking them in general. So to fix that problem, I started dabbling with conversational AI booking bots. There's a bunch of different softwares out there. I don't want to say anything bad about any. I'm just going to give my opinions on what I've used. There's a software called AppointWise that I'm sure you guys have heard of by now. But one thing that I noticed it wasn't as customizable. I used the software. I was really excited when I got into it. And once again, maybe things are changed now. It's been a few months, but I couldn't really customize the software. And one thing that I did notice as well is that leads were actually getting upset by the software because it was talking in a very robotic way. They figured out that it was probably AI that they're talking to, and that was a bad look on me because the business owners are reading those messages and they realize that I set that up for them. So after a little while, I came across a software called Closebot, and that was a similar idea, conversational AI booking and communication. And it integrates directly with Go High Level. But one thing that I noticed with this software is that it's super customizable. You could actually go into the settings, you can change the objectives, it can give information, gather information, and book people in directly for appointments or consultations. And there's all sorts of different settings that you could actually utilize. You can make it sound a certain way. It could take on a tone that's happy or excited or mellow or serious, whatever you want it to be. And you could really adjust it to the niche that you guys are in, which is amazing. So I was mind blown by the software when I first started using it. It was just working extremely well, and it sounds exactly like a human. It doesn't sound overly excited, or it doesn't send out very long paragraphs if you don't want it to. And that was truly amazing. So when I implemented it, I was super happy, and I did want to create a video about it. So I figured, who better to talk about the software than the actual founder itself? His name's Bryce, and he's actually going to be coming on this episode, and he's going to be walking through the entire software and how it can be potentially used in our agency space. So he's going to be providing a whole lot of value for you guys. And another thing that they did, the team at Closebot, they actually created a coupon code specifically for you guys. That's a $100 discount off your subscription, which is truly amazing because that's not something they offer to anybody. So you guys can definitely use that. Even if you don't want to use it, that's completely fine. I wouldn't mind. But like I said, I'm going to be creating another video in the future where I walk through my setup and show you guys how I'm using it in actual conversations with my clients. But today, Bryce is going to be taking you guys through the entire software, explaining what it is, and just providing a whole lot of value. So let's just hop straight in, and I hope you guys enjoy. Awesome. Okay, Bryce, appreciate you hopping on, man. Before we dive into the actual demo part of things, I want to take a step back and talk about your journey. For people who might not know too much about you or Closebot, the software, give us a bit of a background. How did this all come about, and what is Closebot in general?
Yeah, interesting story. I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree back in 2015, and I actually hated computer science, software development. I had one class on it in college. It was hard, didn't understand the professor. Ended up getting a job at Boeing. That was the first company that offered me a job. Had a young newborn at the time, so was taking the first job I could. That brought me from the Midwest out to Washington State, where I started my journey as a mechanical engineer. I quickly found that mechanical engineering in corporate was not for me. It was mainly just paperwork. But I was lucky enough to have some mentors at Boeing that were in the software role, and they reintroduced me to software in a way that was fun. And it was in AI, which was super cool. So started working on prototype software at Boeing, like doing new cool stuff that Boeing was never actually going to use. We pretty much just got to play with AI and get paid for it. But like, I was doing that, and my wife was doing real estate, And she got to the point where she was making more money than me and was able to work the hours she wanted. And I was like, that's not fair. I'm a software developer working on AI projects at a prestigious, Fortune 500 company, Boeing, and she's making more money than me. I'm going to quit Boeing and I'm going to go do sales in real estate. So it was about 5 years ago. I left Boeing. And in your opinion, typically are tech people that good at sales?
Sorry, what was that?
Typically, in your opinion, are tech people that good at sales?
Tech people that good at sales? That's a hard question. I mean, it really depends, I guess, right? Just on
The
if you're
answer
a
is
bit more
no.
outgoing.
You don't have to be nice. No, they're not good at sales, and I was not good at sales. I was so
I feel
bad.
like you could be. No, like you're kind of an outgoing person. You're talkative.
I mean, yeah, I've learned to be outgoing because I had to.
Yeah.
But I started that and I was so bad. And she's like, come on, Bryce, you left your job and you have to bring in money. You have to sell. And I was like, I hear you, but I feel like I could code my way out of this problem. So instead of selling, like we do, I spent my time developing tools using my AI background. This was 5 years ago, pre-ChatGPT. Developing my own tools, training my own LLM to automate the sales process. And it took a long time, and it didn't work very well until OpenAI released their LLM. Now, I took what I built and just plugged their model into it, and then it worked. That's all I needed. Not my garbage LLM. I just needed a different source for knowledge. Other than that, everything I had built worked. So if it seems like we were early to the game, it's because we were. We just kind of everything happened, right place, right time.
That's awesome.
And that's why Closebot is here today. Now, it started out just being for real estate. I just used it in my business, but then the market crashed. My business went under. We lost a lot, and I had to do something to make money. So I changed it so it could work for any industry, and we started selling it to people.
Wow. I had no idea about that. I've been using the software myself. I had no idea that started off for real estate.
I didn't even know what high level was until probably 90% of the people that wanted to use my tech wanted to plug it into high level. So I was like, okay, I need to learn what high level is. And then I just made a more direct integration.
Right. Okay.
And that's when things really took off.
Gotcha. So that's a bit of your story, but let's say somebody hasn't heard of, they're not too familiar with these conversational booking bots and why somebody would actually use it. So give us a bit of a rundown on why somebody would actually use something like Closebot and what it's for.
Sure. Well, let me share my screen and give you a better idea of this. Okay, so we can see I sent it a message. Now, this was an old chat. So we see that it followed up with me. Now, a lot of stuff just happened. Okay, this was an old chat. I came back to the website. Not only do we have the ability for the bot to engage and try to qualify you, but we have follow-up settings built in, so it can even follow up with the contact. When I came back to the site, I saw that it had sent me another message, several minutes later. It was there. I gave it my name. That's the first thing we teach it to do. Get the name. And then the next, it's trying to find the industry that I'm working in. And we try to make this as human sounding as possible. So we do things for you, like break up the messages into multiple messages. You have the ability to have the bot make grammar mistakes and then correct them. That's what happened too. I'm curious. It spelled that wrong. Sent the correction. Broke it into multiple messages. These are all things that improve your conversion. So as I'm communicating with this AI, it's marching down what we call objectives. It's gathering all this information, updating fields, so that by the time the appointment happens, you have all the information. It's all on the contact in the appropriate field, and you're set up for success on that call. It's a qualified lead. They're more likely to show up. You're more likely to close them. Okay. So that's a little view of how it works.
That's awesome.
Let's go into how we actually build this thing. When you log into your Closebot account, first thing you see is this dashboard. We can see how many appointments it's booking over time. We can see the number of contacts it's responding to, all the cool stuff you would care about. We can see all the messages it's having, what it's working on getting. So if it's working on getting someone's name or industry, we see that here. Whether it's accomplished a goal and updated a field, it's all right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But let's go into how I actually build this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the magic.
This is the magic. And just a bit of context for those guys watching. A lot of people do understand that service delivery on my channel is one of those things I love to obsess about. So that's just one of the best things about this. This objectives area where you can, not even just the objectives, all of these settings that he's about to actually walk through. That I think is one of the most valuable parts of this software because it's so customizable. There's a bunch of different conversational booking bots out there that I think people can utilize, but I haven't personally seen one that is this customizable and, where you can actually make it sound like a human, as you were talking about earlier. So I think that's one of the great parts, and I'm excited for you to walk through that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the first screen we introduce you to is just where you can give the bot a label and a name. Like I could call this bot's name Bryce.
My bot's name is Roy.
Okay, so Roy. Exactly. We can add additional delay to how long it takes the bot to respond. A lot of people use this if they're doing like email or text message or WhatsApp. If you're doing web chat, most people keep it lower, so you're getting quicker responses, but it's weird if the AI is always responding really fast on texts and emails. We can tell it how often we want it to do typos. So I have this one doing typos 2% of the messages, and how often we want it to break up big messages into smaller messages. So like you were saying, you have a lot of control over how this operates. We can even do prohibited words. So in industries like mortgage and pest control, they are not allowed to say certain words. In pest control, you're not allowed to say safe. So what this does is if I put the word safe in here, if the bot is going to say safe, it finds a different word that's not in your list that it can substitute for that word.
That's insane.
Then over here, you notice we have different models you can choose. We have Anthropic and OpenAI. So that's another big reason why you would want to switch to Closebot. So we're not reliant on OpenAI. If OpenAI goes down, you're still up and running. But even more so, Anthropic has been trained specifically for back and forth conversations. OpenAI is more general purpose. So Anthropic tends to feel more conversational. We use Anthropic for our own bots.
Okay, what would you say is generally better between the two? I know a lot of people have their opinions that, okay, maybe one sounds more conversational and human-like, but I'm curious, what do you think about that?
We did a poll, and most people prefer Anthropic.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, we did a blind poll.
That's awesome.
On this next screen, it's where you integrate. I'll show you how to set this up, but it is so easy to set this thing up. I actually want to go into the bot we were just engaging with, so let me do that.
Perfect. Yeah, the setup, because you say that it's so easy, that's one thing I completely agree with too. It's just a few clicks, not really anything crazy, just one workflow within GHL that you'll probably talk about, but yeah, super easy.
Let's go into objectives, because that's really the meat and potatoes of what we do. So we saw in the example that it got my name, and then it worked on industry. It's starting to march down this list of priorities. Anything that's tied all together, the AI can kind of decide which ones it's going to do and when. You're just leaving it up to the AI. Otherwise, it follows the exact priority cadence. Eventually trying to get that booked appointment. And then after the booked appointment, I have it try up to 2 times to get their phone number. So you'll see a couple of these have max attempts on here. If I click any of these, we have some more settings. You can set the max attempts if you only want the bot to try to get it a certain amount of times. Maybe like this one, their CRM. If they don't know the CRM name that they use, or they're like, why do you need to know that information? The bot's only going to try twice before it's like, hey, I get it, no problem. Mind telling me the industry you're working in?
Right.
Closebot is focused on being as easy as possible. So we're trying to make this system so that you don't have to think about prompting. V2 will go even further into this. We're trying to make it as low and no prompt as possible. You just come in here, drag and drop things around, and we do the heavy lifting prompting for you on the back end. But more importantly, we're doing it dynamically. So we're changing the brain of your AI agent as the conversation is happening. That's something you couldn't do if you were just typing in the prompt yourself. It won't change dynamically the way we're doing it.
That's insane.
So this is objectives. We have follow-up settings. Like I have this set up to follow up after 5 minutes. I showed you how, 5 minutes passed. I came back to the screen. It sent me a follow-up message. And smart follow-ups is something we have too. So if you came in and said, hey, you know what? It's actually not a good time for me. I'm on family vacation this week. It would schedule a follow-up for the next week. You wouldn't have to do anything. No additional setup. You just turn this toggle on, and it'll continue trying to get the objectives accomplished by itself.
That's crazy. That's actually mind-blowing. I love that.
Isn't that sweet? Yeah,
it is.
It's so cool.
Yeah, I know. That's actually unreal.
Here we have a couple fields you can fill out. Why the conversation's happening. I mean, imagine you're an employee and you're dropped into a dark box and you have no idea context about anything. You need to tell it like, hey, these people are coming from web chat. They're on your website. This is why they're engaging with you. Maybe the website has this offer on it. Tell it why the conversation's happening. Any important information about the business? Now we have an uploads section too. So this is like important things about like the foundation of your business. You work at a gym. This is a gym. It needs to know that. That's the foundation, the core. And then extra instruction on tweaking responses, how you want it to respond.
Perfect.
And
So any tips on, just before we
ahead.
read that part in the, go to the main section. This is the part where I guess, for people that are getting started with it, they're going to be kind of training it, just the bot on what they want it to do. So especially, I think one thing related to getting started with any AI software is just that immediate thing that, like, obviously you're super excited to use it. And then there is sometimes that fear that, like, okay, what if, I'm a bit scared to get this rolling for my clients and their sub accounts, regardless of whatever AI software it is. It's, whatever, it could be anything. So how would you suggest they kind of go about doing this to make sure they get like the best results possible and just keep it as human, if that is their objective, as human-like as possible too?
Yeah, really good question. You want to make sure you're not overloading information in here. If it's information the bot won't likely need, don't put it in here. The way we work, if it's knowledge that it'll need sometimes, not all the time, upload that and attach it as a knowledge base. If it's something it needs to know all the time, like it needs to know works at a gym, this company's a gym, and the gym name, like that's stuff it needs to know all the time, that goes in here. It's also going to not only listen to your voice style, and this goes for Closebot or other applications, it's also going to kind of replicate the way you're writing. For example, if I told it up here, I want you to be happy, and this is an extreme example, but down here I was like, hey, dumb assistant, you're not supposed to say you are here for support. If you were mean to it and you told it to be happy, it's kind of going to replicate a little bit of your voice style. It's like they're conflicting. It listens to both.
Right.
So that's something that people
Okay.
don't notice. AI is really just a fancy autocomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the words it sees in front of it, it's guessing the next series of words. So even if you say, hey, dummy, do this thing and speak to me happy, you dumb bot. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to kind of be happy and not.
Because you're telling it two different things pretty much. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. That clears it up.
Something to keep in mind here, if you're building for a lot of sub-accounts, you can plug unlimited sub-accounts into one bot. You would want to use your go high level custom values and contact field values in here. So instead of doing, instead of listing out the plan payment information, maybe I'm plugging a bunch of different businesses into here with different plan information. And you can get this from your high level account, custom, I think it's custom values. Maybe we call it plan info. And maybe that's a custom value that you have the businesses in each sub account go and type in themselves. And it can pull from that information and use it. So you'd be using a lot of custom fields.
Right. And the custom values and custom field integration, I think, is one of the craziest things too. For me, like for one of my objectives, I think I started off in a way where it's like, we already collect some information from them. I'm in the detailing niche, for instance. So these local clients that are trying to get our services, they'll tell us like their vehicle make and model. And I get the bot I train it in a way where it's like confirm the vehicle make and model with the customer. So telling them it's like, just to confirm, Danny, you have a 2019 Honda Civic. That's insane that an AI bot can do that.
It knows.
It knows,
and
right?
yeah, you're using the custom values and fields.
Right. Yeah, and I found that one of like the craziest things ever, because I've noticed that increases the open rates and conversion rates so much too, compared to just to confirm what's your vehicle. You know what I mean? That was insane. So yeah, that's great work on that part for sure.
Yeah, that's great, and that's where like you marketing minds, you're geniuses. It's like I don't think of that kind of stuff.
Really?
That's great.
Yeah, thank you.
We need to work together. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, simple, real simple. Now, the way you connect this, you come over to integrate. You can either connect to a previously connected Go High Level source. So I could scroll through my high level accounts here and connect to, this one as well. And then it's connected. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. Or add new. When you add new, it opens up this screen where you log into high level. Then you can select from there, drop down, and then it'll show up back on this screen. Now, when you do that, there is one workflow right now you have to make. Let me open up our account, and we're not even a Go High Level agency. We're under someone else's Go High Level agency.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just focus on the one thing. That's another thing that makes us unique. Like we are so focused on Closebot. We're not building a Go High Level agency. We're not building additional services and paid webinars. We're just building the AI.
Yeah, exactly. Just to confirm, is the Go High Level page shared or? Yeah, and even like the Go High Level part, because I've used a different conversational booking bot, and I think there was like 8 to 10 workflows that I had to integrate with it. And it took a while, I was just so confused. But this one, I think, was just like one workflow, and that too was like this big. Insane.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. We have thorough documentation. I'm going to go into my quick start doc, initial setup, and this tells you about what I'm going to do. And All we have to do, this one doesn't have the workflow. I'm going to show you how fast this is. Let's create this workflow. Well, it's fast if Go High Level loads the screen.
Yeah. Holding us back here.
Come on now. Good thing I have screenshots on these documentation.
Yeah.
All we do, okay, it's one action, one trigger. Anyone can do that. You go in and you add the trigger, customer replied. Halfway done.
That's crazy.
You go in, you add the action, Closebot webhook. In the Closebot webhook, you put in this api.closebot.ai/message. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And you
So
can
that's
just
the
copy and
only
paste
workflow
that
you
from below, right?
Yep. The
Exactly.
same thing right there. That's all.
And you're done. That's all.
You're
it
done.
is.
It's responding to email, SMS, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, all the channels.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I didn't even
All of
ask
them.
you, because I think people coming into this, they probably just think, like the other softwares, it's just conversational through SMS, but that's insane. Email, Instagram, Facebook, that's like an AI bot is responding to the emails, and I think that's one of the most valuable things, especially in this kind of SMMA agency coaching space. That's crazy that it can even do that.
Yeah, all of them. And for the people that are like, well, I don't want it to respond to email, you can easily just go into that contact reply trigger and exclude email.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's sending to Closebot for it to respond. Just exclude whatever channel from that customer replied trigger that you don't want it to respond to.
Right. Right. That's awesome. That's actually crazy. I'm curious you said you kind of you got it started just in the real estate space. So expanding to all these different industries, you clearly saw like, okay, there's a problem that needs to be solved. What was it about these different problems that you saw in these different industries that you even thought something like this would just change the game?
Everyone thinks their business is special and unique, but they're all the same. Any company that does sales, they have things they want to qualify a lead on. And looking at real estate, I knew really well that when a real estate lead comes in, you need to know whether they're a buyer or seller. You need to know their email address. You need to know their budget, these kind of things. And then when we expanded to gyms, they told me, like Gym Launch was one of our early customers. They need to know why someone's joining their gym.
Mm-hmm.
They need to know, like if it's weight loss or if it's just motivation or something else. And they need to know maybe their timeline, when they want to start their subscription, that kind of stuff. Then you go to a different industry. Like you start to see, they're all just gathering information. So we could really just make a tool where you could map out your own objectives and it would work for any industry.
Right. Yeah.
We had pre-built templates at the start, and we had it working for fitness, real estate, solar. We had like 6 different options. But then we kept adding, and we're like, these are all kind of the same. Like, all sales is kind of the same.
It is, yeah. That's very true. That's awesome. And now it could pretty much integrate with almost any industry, especially if these guys are in the agency space and working with local businesses, e-commerce, whatever it is. It could kind of integrate with anybody.
We have a hypnotist, traveling circus, life coaches.
Wow.
Doesn't matter. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because everybody needs a service like this.
Yeah.
I can't see anybody that wouldn't.
And for you marketing agencies, it's a big blue ocean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone is your customer.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I really hope people can see how valuable and, how much this can really change the service delivery side of things. Because every time I've been in conversation with clients and I pull this part up, and this is always the part that gets kind of the most, whoa, I haven't seen this before, because it's still one of those things that it's not every agency isn't using this, right? And the other thing is when people hear that, considering that speed to lead is so important, when there's an AI bot that can just fully communicate in a human-like way with people right away, instead of taking bunch of time to get to the phone, and it is trained on your business like any random person you hire would be, I think that's just game changing, right? So for me, I've implemented this, and I think everybody who's watching, like, they're going to implement it, and it's just going to change their agency's business, whatever they have running. So yeah.
Can I show you what's coming?
Yes, that's what I wanted to get to next. I'm excited for that part. Really want to see what you have. The V2.
So we've been working on building our V2 update for about 1.5 years now.
Wow.
As you've seen, there's a lot in V1, and we've continued to build V1 as we're building the V2. So it's constantly like extended the timeline of V2, but finally V2 is just, it's 4 weeks away for some. It's actually only a couple weeks away for some. Some are getting access for production here in a couple weeks, and some have access now and they just use it for testing, but we're so close to this update. The reason why we're releasing this update is because, a couple reasons. We want to make these objectives more dynamic. Right now, if you want to determine whether or not someone is a buyer for real estate or a seller, and then have different objectives depending on which type of lead they are. Right now, that takes 2 different bots. You can easily do that with V1, but it's kind of a hybrid between go high level workflows to switch bots and Closebot doing things. We want to bring that all in-house, make it as easy as possible. That is our goal. Quick and easy tool for marketing agencies to build expert level bots. That's our focus. So let me show you how we're accomplishing that. So this is an example for real estate. It looks really complex, but I'm gonna show you the complex side, and then I'm gonna show you how simple it can be as well to build complex bots too. This one's more complex than most people would ever need. Our first objective is determining whether they're a buyer, a seller, or both. Then we're going to split. If they're a buyer, seller, or both, we need to do some different things. First of all, if they're a buyer or both, a buyer and a seller, we need to get their budget. Then we need to get, if they're a buyer and a seller, so we determine they're a buyer at least, get their budget. If they're a buyer and a seller, go up to the seller side and then get their address. And then get their timeline, if they're a buyer and seller or just a seller. And then if they're selling quick, we need to route them to a different type of appointment with a wholesaler. So this is a different go high level calendar. Back over here, if they're just a buyer, maybe for some reason we require that they pay $100 to meet with our realtor if they're just a buyer. We could at that point send them a payment link, wait for that payment to process, and then conversationally book an appointment with them.
Wow. That's crazy.
And maybe at any point in the conversation, if they say, you know what, I'm not interested, stop responding. So we have a lot of freedom with V2 that can be done in V1. It would just take a hybrid approach with workflows and Closebot.
So just to quickly confirm here, one of the biggest things with V2 is we're kind of taking away that hybrid model where you have to work really closely with these go high level automations and go through that more confusing process of combining a few different bots to get to one objective. Whereas this, in one playground that you have up here, you could just combine all of that and have it all in one place.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's mind blowing.
Let me go into a simple bot.
Yeah.
Because that can be exciting for some people, intimidating for others. I don't know what this, perfect. And this is still in production, so this part is not designed yet. Should be within the next week or so. We will be able to put all of these in the same bucket. And then what this would do is it would all together get their name, email, and address. Let me put another one after this. So right now, something nice about objectives is it really stays on task and it's really repeatable and accurate. But what can be a drawback from it is if you have a name, email, and phone objective, it's going to say, hey, can I get your name? And then you give the name. And it says, awesome, could I get your email? Get the email. Hey, can I get your address now? You give the address. That's 3 messages minimum that have to happen. This would use the AI to likely say something like, hey, I need your name, email, and address when you get a chance. And if you gave your name and email, it would say, awesome, thanks for those. I still need your address. And then go over to the booking side.
Right.
So really powerful. We can combine things or we can break them out into segments. You decide. And this is really going to be, this is a really powerful, simple bot that a lot of people will probably use.
Yeah. 100%.
Doesn't
That's
have
very
to be
cool.
complicated.
Yeah. It seems like the interface has changed quite a bit too for this, unless if you guys are making more updates.
We are making more updates to this too. I'll show you some of the updates that'll be done before the rest of you guys get access. Let's go over some of the other features. One of the other things we've done, and actually let me go into this design portal where they're planning the updates. We've broken it out. Now, instead of having a bot, we are going to have AI jobs and personas. When you have a job in your business, that is a job where you want someone to get someone's name, email, phone number, book an appointment. That's a job. You have different people that can fill that role. For example, one of them might be Snoop Dogg. One of them might be Beyonce. They're going to speak differently. So we're going to allow you to make personas in here and then plug different personas into that job to see who converts better.
Wow. So are these personas going to be already created, or is it something that's
Customizable. You go and make your personas.
Wow.
Correct. Yeah.
That's crazy. So you could have like a few different ones and then test all of them and see what gets the better conversion rates and open rates.
Right. And you could change little things. The persona is going to have all the things that change how it responds. So like the typo stuff, the typo settings and breaking up messages, how to respond, the voice style, the AI provider it's using, whether it's using Anthropic or OpenAI or Gemini or DeepSeek. All of those are settings at the persona side, so that allows you to split test and see which one drives to more booked appointments for your business.
Yeah. That's incredible. I love that.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah.
We're also really leaning into an upgrade in our dashboard. On the agency side of things, you'll be able to see for different sources, so for different sub-accounts, how much money you're making from rebilling. That's something else we're going to have. You'll have the ability to rebill user seats, message volume, the business uploading information to the bot's knowledge. You can rebill all of that. So you'll be able to see how much money you're making altogether and per sub-account.
Wow.
On the business side, they'll have their own dashboard. They'll be able to click on the sidebar in your high-level sub-account that you made for them. They'll see this dashboard. They won't have to log in. We've done it through something called SSO, so they click the link, they'll see it, and they'll see the success metrics. They'll see their KPIs. You know, how many booked appointments is this getting me? How many contacts is this having? How many messages is this processing? And they'll be able to see their cost too.
So this will plug directly into the Go High Level dashboard.
Right.
Oh, wow. So they won't have to log into a whole different software.
Right.
That's really great. It's useful.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
With this as well, there are no workflows. So that one workflow, we decided that's too many. Taking that away. All you'll have to do is do the click to connect. And then when you go back to Actually, let me just show you here. We can edit a source and we can say, I only want this engaged for email or SMS and live chat. You know, we can pick. And maybe we only, I don't have any tags in this sub account, but we can also filter by tags. Maybe I only want this bot on for contacts that are tagged AI bot, please respond. And only on the SMS and live chat channels. So we still give you all the control that you would have from the workflow being there, except it's not there. You don't have to set it up. It's all in Closebot. It's going to be more reliable that way too.
Right. So now, I mean, it's already so easy, and now it's even easier. You don't even have to set up a workflow.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah, we're super thrilled. So, I mean, big things coming. We're pouring so much into research and development. We're so close to release on this. And you know, like V1 is already incredible. V1 is already crushing. It had its third week in a row booking over 10,000 appointments. Wow. It's in a single week. That's 1 a minute on average. So it's working. It's powerful.
It is. So I can't even imagine what V2 is going to bring for everybody. That's awesome. That's really great. You said for that it was about 2 weeks until it's live, or no? Was it a longer time frame?
2 weeks for some.
For some, okay. And they'll be able to
Everyone will have it by the end of May. That's when we're shutting off the sign-up page for V1 and turning on the sign-up page for V2. Up until then, it's just going to be current users that we're slowly migrating over.
Right, okay. And then I guess...
So you guys that get in, you know, you get V2 earlier. We prioritize people that are committed to us. Right.
So if there wasn't already enough, urgent people to sign up, now there's even more. You guys get access to the new version even faster, which is truly incredible. Man, that was super insightful. I'm really glad you were able to hop on and kind of break this down. You know, I know there's no one better that would have been able to do this than the actual founder of the software, so I really appreciate you coming on and kind of explaining that to everybody.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I mean, you're a user yourself. I love meeting people that are crushing it as a marketing agency, and bonus if they're using Closebot.
Definitely, yeah. And that's one of the things too. I think it's just in this marketing agency field, the more people that actually obsess over service delivery, I think it's just a better result for everybody, because there's not that situation where people are just getting into this space to not provide value and instead just prioritize collecting cash and make money. So that's one of the things I think is so different about this software, that it allows you to prioritize that value, right? And just make sure that you're actually happy with the service and product that you're selling. And that's what I found. I've truly been so happy with it and the results that it is able to achieve, and, you know, talk like a human, book people in, pretty much just create another assistant that you don't have to pay $60,000 a year for, you know, so which is amazing. So that's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Definitely. 100%. And for anyone who's interested, like I mentioned earlier, we've got the special discount for Closebot. That's going to be linked in the description below. So if you guys want to start automating your appointment booking, handling the conversations on autopilot, and just making your life a whole lot easier, definitely go check it out. Like I said, everything's going to be linked below. I'm also going to have all of Bryce's pages and all of his resources down there as well. But Bryce, any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, thank you. We love our users. Come in, you'll see that we treat you guys like gold. Really, the reason why Closebot is the way it is today is because our users have given so much amazing feedback that we've been able to go and execute on.
Exactly. And, you know, when you guys will join the software, there's a Facebook page with, I believe, over 5,000 people, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, 5,600 right now.
5,600, which is crazy. And I joined this Facebook group, and I was confused because there was just every day hundreds of people just raving about it, and they were so excited about using it, which I've never seen in a community. I think that's so unheard of, where everybody is that like excited about a software, you know. And I think that's one of the special things that you guys have, which is awesome. But yeah, man, keep it up. I'm truly excited for people to try out the software, and I'm excited to see the new version as well. It's truly going to be a great time. But yeah, that's a wrap for sure. If you guys got value from this, drop a comment, let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to check out the software. But with that being said, I will see you guys in the next one.